As a young boy, old folks thought I was cool. I did good in school, so mama let me bend the rules. I grew up with an attitude to do just what I choose.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Shooting the Shit. We have three of us join the show today. It's myself, Sean Gregoire. We got Pat Hardy in the building. We got Kev Barrett in the building. How you guys doing today, man?
Good, man. Just chilling. Another Saturday. Blessed to be here.
Pat, what's up, bro?
I'm good, man. I hope y'all enjoyed your week. We about to get into it. I'm ready to go.
All right. Okay, so we'll get right into the first topic. We're going to be talking about the bubble, the NBA bubble that has somehow held up and nobody's dying or getting sick, which is great. That's very good for my conscience, even though I've been wrong over the past 2 months of recording this show. We'll start with a bunch of general questions. We can't run through everything. That'll take an hour in itself. But Pat, we'll just start with you. What team have you been looking at in the bubble, and what have you been looking at in general as far as the league?
So I've really been checking out two teams. Obviously, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. The Sun's crazy right now. The only undefeated team in the bubble. Devin Booker hitting, buzzer beaters, doing book stuff that's eventually going to get him out of Phoenix because he doesn't need to be here any longer. He needs to get away very quickly. And then, man, I can't do anything but look at Portland. Even though they just took a tough loss to the Clips earlier. Portland is intriguing because obviously my sentiments are, Memphis was coming into this thing hot, but they've kind of been one of the worst playoff teams since the All-Star break and since things kind of went haywire in March. So they've kind of been slipping. And then this whole bubble was created for Zion, except the Pelicans don't really know what to do with Zion. And, he's only played 20, 22, 21 or 22 games thus far. So that kind of left the open space for Portland, and Damian Lillard comes and says, I don't even want to show up unless we're going to do what we're doing. So Portland's doing what they're doing now, and you can't but be intrigued by it. Melo is playing great. Nurkic coming back is a boost for them. I'm really watching those teams, Phoenix and Portland.
What about you, Kev?
So I've been watching the Lakers, obviously. I've been, I guess if you could say a team, not my favorite team that I've watched that I've been intrigued by, I would say Dallas. Not just for Luka, but I was surprised by Porzingis, the unicorn. He came out pretty strong. I like to see him in the paint, use his size, stuff like that. So he's just a fun player to watch, in my opinion, because he's all over the place. But yeah, they've been very great offensively. If I'm not mistaken, they're like number one offensive in the league. I don't know if that's changed in the last few days. The Bad Boy Clips, they've been fun to watch. They've been very efficient.
Bad Boy Clips, huh? I haven't heard that one.
I know, right? Yeah, man. Kawhi's been on it. One thing I noted when I was watching Paul George that I'll say too, I remember when he was in Indiana, it was great to see him playing at that level again, because I remember him, breaking his leg, and it was like, some people don't even get back from that. So it was a reflection on a lot of things for me, actually, watching a lot of guys play. And Chris Paul had an awesome game. He's still like up there, arguably I don't know if he'll be able to lead his team, into a more playoff scenario. But I mean, he was getting buckets, man. He's still CP3. Good stuff. Just I was a little conflicted because I'm happy they're back. I know some players are opting out, and that's a thing now too. And I definitely respect anybody's right to say, like, I don't feel comfortable, I don't want to go back. But I mean, I would say my joy for watching them play and do what they do was probably definitely that way more than the latter. So it was good. I'm glad NBA's back.
Yeah, man, it's funny because me and Pat were actually it was me and Brad last week. We were just talking about how happy we were just to watch basketball. We didn't care what it was. That Lakers Clippers game was kind of trash, and I still didn't care. because it was so fun. And it's just we just got overloaded with basketball this week too.
Oh,
And I'll talk about the Lakers first because they've been struggling. LeBron's been struggling. Basically, everyone's been struggling except for Anthony Davis.
Mhm.
And I think the Lakers' issue right now is that they can't shoot for whatever reason. Whatever they were doing during the regular season, it hasn't really translated to the bubble right now. LeBron can't shoot. Danny Green's missing. The whole team is missing, and basically a lot of people are losing their shirts in Vegas because they're relying on the Lakers to be, who the Lakers are supposed to be this year, and they've been rough. Pat, I wanted to ask you, you think Portland can make some noise in the playoffs, obviously, because of the way they finished last season and the way they're finishing up now. How you feel about a first round matchup with the Lakers?
Um, if the Lakers take this show on the road, Dame is going to do Dame things. And Dame is always good for a first round upset in the
Say it,
playoffs. He's good for that.
say it.
Um,
Come on,
but
say it.
if you know anything about a LeBron James team, there's this switch
Yeah.
that they can turn on against lesser um, matched opponents. And as much as I think that Nurkic and Melo playing well helps the Blazers' chances, if they had a full season of it going into this playoff race, obviously they wouldn't be an 8 seed. They'd be a little higher and they wouldn't have to see the Lakers. So it's unfortunate, but if anybody can knock off LeBron and AD and do it in a fashion that is spectacular, it's Dame Lillard. So I don't think Portland wins that series. I think it's a 6 game series if they do it.
Oh,
But
I wanted to get an upset out of you. I wanted you to
you
be
know
on
what?
Charles Barkley's side.
The only reason I'm not saying it's going to be upset is because I expect the Lakers to be able to improve. I don't expect the LeBron James led team to be flat for the next 9 games, 10 games. I
Yeah.
don't expect that. If they stay flat, pencil it in. Portland's killing them. If they still have these shooting woes, Portland's killing them. Portland's killing them. But I don't expect that from the Lakers. So I expect it to be a 6 game series.
All right, awesome. Kev, you have anything to say about potential Lakers series? Are you worried at all about Portland upsetting you guys in the first round, especially if these struggles continue next week? Because if I recall, the playoffs start on the 17th, so you guys
yeah.
basically have a week to get your shit together.
So I am not concerned, and I'm very confident in the team still. No disrespect to Portland at all. I totally agree. I think that's going to be a 6 game series, easy. Possibly 7 if Dame shows up. So I think the thing for the Lakers is that their spot's been clinched. There's no need to like the rest of these games for them are not. You look at them 2 ways, I guess, in my opinion. I'm saving my energy, I'm resting because otherwise nothing's changing for us until the playoffs actually begin. Or you have some people where, they're gonna this, like you say, there's a switch that kind of goes off. We're gonna flip the switch. We're in playoff mode now. Nonetheless. So I think that's more, I think they're rested. Like obviously they ain't been doing shit, for the last few
Yeah.
months anyway. They're back. But I think that's kind of more so what it will be, them taking an opportunity to say, all right, let's take a couple of games, try some different rotations, little different looks, touches like that. Because you're always going to play through AD when you can in the middle. So like that's I don't see that changing anyway for them. But I think you'll see. Hold on, let me pull it up. This may take a minute, so I may have to come back to that thought. But in short, I think they'll definitely step it up, and I think you'll see Kuz kick in, and it's going to be a little more.
Yeah, Kuz's been playing well, man. He's actually been playing defense and trying to be a creator. Like I like what I see now, Kuz. But
Yeah.
this ain't the Lakers bubble; it's the NBA bubble. So we will go back east right quick. So do you guys see any challengers to the Bucks in the East? Do you think Toronto has a real chance? Do you think Boston has a real chance? Ben Simmons is probably out for the postseason, so I'll just preemptively cross out Philly. which makes me really sad because they were they were my pick for a long time.
So, you know what's funny about
I
that,
think
real quick,
everybody
Sean?
had them.
I created a video. You know, we're trying to get our social media up. We're trying to improve the brand. So I took that clip of you talking about Embiid and Simmons and how they were going to play them. I was like, this is really intelligent analysis. It's great. We want to put this and showcase this basketball mind that Sean has. And literally later on that day, before I posted the video, Ben Simmons goes out. So I was like, well, we can't really post Ben Simmons Embiid talk when there's no Ben Simmons there.
Oh
So,
boy. Rough sledding, man. It's wild too because they've been really inconsistent all year, and I was basically betting on just whenever the playoffs start, all right, everyone's serious, and the switch goes on, and Embiid stops fucking off, and Simmons does what he does, and they try to shock the world and they use their size, but I don't think that's happening anymore. And at least Brent Brown's job is safe because now he has an excuse. He has an excuse now. Oh, Simmons is injured. We don't know what we could have done. Blah 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 blah. But do you guys think that anyone really had the chance against the Bucks? Because I have my opinion. I want to hear you guys'.
I would.
hey, I got some love for Boston today. Got some
Hey,
Boston love
There we
today.
go.
I think Boston can do it.
okay.
I think Boston can do it. I don't have the basketball analysis to break down the movement on the floor and stuff like that, but just from what I'm seeing in the bubble, and what those young guys, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward, still a problem. Um, you got the junkyard dog. Uh,
Marcus
they,
Smart,
yeah,
my man.
man, I think they can. I think they got a chance to put the Bucks in a tough position. And when you get Giannis out the paint, even though he's been shooting particularly well in the bubble, you get him out the paint and you make Chris Middleton have to go to work. I think Boston can do that, and I think they can. I think they might be able to push the Bucks.
Yeah, like I'm talking about beating them though. Like I think there are two teams that can push them, but I'm talking about is there a team that you would put money on? Like, hey, like they're gonna lose in six to this X team in the East.
Mm,
No.
Boston still.
Okay.
I just look at what Toronto was able to do with Greek last year,
Right.
and I kind of see Boston presenting the same problems to them this year. That's banking on Greek giving you the same performance he gave us last year. I don't think we're going to get that, but there's a team that I see right now is Boston.
Right. What about you, Kev?
I was in agreement. I think if you have to pick one, because I still think even though Toronto doesn't have Kawhi, their lineup's a little different. I still think that's an overall great roster, great team.
Oh, they're so
Um,
solid.
so yeah, they're pretty solid. I want to put them out there, but I still I kind of hate to say the Celtics' reputation precedes them in playing those kind of big games, big series, stuff like that. So I'd have to agree that the Celtics would be the one to push the number one, and go against the Bucks.
Go ahead and tell us about Toronto. I know that's where you're going, Sean.
Yep.
I know that's where you're
Yo.
going.
And I know this is on the heels of Toronto getting the breaks beat off them by Boston last night. Did you guys watch that game?
I
I
did.
I actually
I watched
gambled.
some highlights this morning, actually.
I actually gambled on the Raptors coming back in the second half, at least getting it to double digits. And boy, was our oh my god, boy, whew, they gave Toronto a whooping. That said, I feel like Toronto is the best team to come out the East outside Milwaukee, obviously, and it's because they're too solid defensively. I think they can get these games just straight in the mud. I think they can get Giannis out of what he wants to do. I think that they can throw enough bodies at him. They can throw enough different looks at him. They can confuse people, And I think over the course of a 7-game series, my only concern for Toronto is where Siakam's at. That's my thing, because when things get sloppy, you can't run any more cute offense with Freddie and Kyle. Who are you going to go to? And Siakam is very good. Siakam isn't quite there yet. He's not where Kawhi was. He's not even a Paul George in that situation, LeBron, those guys, like people who can just get you a shot when nothing else is going right. So that's my only concern. And this is assuming that Greek doesn't come out with a 15-footer when the time goes there. Because if he has that, then it's over. You can forget about it. But we're assuming that we have the same Greek from last year, which is a pretty dumb assumption. But we're assuming that Shaka goes to 4, Giannis has the ball, nowhere else to go. Can he pop an 18-footer over somebody? If the answer is yes, then all of this is moot because they're going to win the title going away. But if they don't, then that opens the door. So that's going to be really exciting. And before we move on to Ross and Chainz and everyone else, TJ Warren and your sons, Pat.
Why is that you?
Oh,
Kawhi?
It's funny with TJ Warren. I followed him ever since he was in college. I think he went to NC State. And he was a world-class scorer at NC State, but he didn't have the 3 ball. So I was scared that he wasn't going to be good enough or versatile enough for people to just throw him in and kill people from the mid-range. He would he would have to get a 3 ball. And he came to Orlando with a 3 ball, man. And golly, he
running them off.
Oh my God. I don't know if somebody hypnotized him. I don't know if he came with a new shooting coach or just like over the summer, like, I'm just going to come back with a 3 ball and this is just going to unlock my game. But he's a walking 35 ball now. At least Orlando, like, that's the crazy thing about the league. Like, you blink and, oh, wow, this guy can just score 30 any game
out of
now.
nowhere.
Like, who's TJ Warren?
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, and he's been an assassin, but the one thing that was holding him back, besides playing defense, was the lack of a 3 ball. I think he only put up like 63s off the dribble last year or something, like this whole season prior to the bubble, and now he's just raining hellfire, and now he's a 30 ball. It's insane, but shout out to him. Shout out to the Pacers for unlocking yet another gem. I think we're underestimating them, but I don't think Oladipo is good enough to lead a team past anybody's second round. So we're just going to continue sleeping on Indy. I'm sorry. But TJ Warren, you're an animal.
I mean, you get him and Oladipo and Miles Turner clicking. Talking about going into next season, not right now in Orlando, but talking about going into next season. Indy got something up there.
They have something. It's just, do they have enough? Do they have enough to attract the big fish, and the big fish to play in Indiana,
It's not a bad city. It's not a bad city. I love Indianapolis. I spent a lot of good time there. I love Indy. Not a bad city,
If you have to make a case like that, you can forget about it. But yeah, go ahead, Cam.
I was just gonna say, I think that's where you get more in the league into the talk of franchises and how big your franchise can be, and is that it for those smaller markets? Like big markets get big names, and if you're not seemingly those bigger markets where there's more opportunity, like how many of those guys are staying there? So.
Like
I don't know. Right, exactly.
Waiting.
Indy's not bad. Think about it. Indy, you're a 2.5, 3 hour car ride from Chicago. If you want to hop on a plane, it's 45 minutes to an hour. The 8 hour drive from Atlanta. If you want to hop on a plane, it's 2.5, 3 hours to get there. Indy's not a bad place. The cost of living is great compared to all these other big marketplaces where someone could play. You got the Circle City Classic, Black excellence that comes through Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a good city to live in. It's a little thuggish. It's a little thuggish now. Don't get me wrong. Keep that thing on you when you out there. But Indy's a good place to live. You get up there, you go to Carmel, you live on, you'd be all right.
All right, cool. I'll take your word for it. All right, so let's move on from basketball. We'll talk about Rick Ross, 2 Chainz, their verses on it was Thursday. I enjoyed it. I had Ricky winning 12-8. I had Drake winning as well because that whole the second half of of that versus had me thinking, well, who the hell's gonna beat Drake in this format? And for me, the answer is nobody. I've maybe the ghost of Kanye. Maybe he has 20 of those things, but outside of that, I don't see a ton of competition. I know Ross can't do it because half his shit features Drake, so it'd be tough to try to beat Drake with his own shit. How'd you guys feel about the verses? How'd you guys feel about the energy and the songs and everything else?
I'm gonna go first because it's gonna be quick. So I have not watched the versus thing. I always kind of get information after the fact. So I've kind of heard and seen the list, and like I just want to say, because we talked about it before and came to that same thing, like who would beat Drake supposedly. And in my opinion, that's where you get back to the hip hop beefs of, the hip hop world. I would put that Push versus Drake battle in a heartbeat. Like
Oh
that's
no,
like, oh yeah.
You're trying to get
But
somebody beat up at the
but
verse.
this is the thing
yeah,
about
that's
it.
it.
This is the thing about it in the verses, right? Because it's always gonna, like, Drake is gonna win that too, but I feel like that win is almost by default. He's think about it. He everyday hits. He's got the most, hands down. But I think, if you're, and I'm not gonna make it seem like, enjoy your hip hop. I'm not like a super analytical person when it comes to hip hop, but when it comes to that beef supposedly, because like when Drake bodied Meek Mill, right? I was like, damn, because I wasn't even a Drake fan really until that happened, and I was like, oh man, this dude, okay, he really does like have some flow. Like he survived the hip hop beef, and actually, he rapped the shit like back to back, and still like I
Yeah,
crack up every time, right? So when
Summer
I look at
16 was badass too, to be honest.
yeah, so when I look at that, right, and then I fast forward to like him getting into another beef with Push, I feel like Push came out of that. When you look at their songs, I feel like he won that one. So if that's what I would want to see, but I haven't seen a versus, so what the fuck do I know?
Yeah, it's a 20 song format. That's the thing. It's 20
Right.
of your biggest hits.
Yeah,
So
Push
so it's
And to
not like
speak on that,
Push would have about 10, and then
and
it would just
to
go from there.
speak on that Drake Meek real quick, I don't think that it's because Drake completely annihilated Meek, and I don't think it was because Drake just did incredible things. We expected a response from Meek, and Meek didn't fulfill. He
yeah.
didn't give us
Yeah,
what we were looking for.
the
He
Undertaker
disappointed
stuff.
us. So
Yeah,
that's what
he
made
did.
that L so much worse because we were like, oh, Meek, this is what Meek does. And
Yeah,
he
you would
didn't
think.
do anything. And yeah, so Drake bodied Meek, but it's not because Drake just rapped the doors off anything. He made a hot song and Meek underwhelmed with the response. So I was like, you just got your ass whooped.
Good
But
point. Good point.
in regards to the verses, I got 2 Chainz winning. I had
Oh,
2 Chainz
nah.
winning, and I think the biggest thing that everyone wants to do and that what they had to do, and Sean, you mentioned it seconds ago, it's a 20 song format. We're not taking the entire body of work and saying, oh, this artist is better than this artist.
Yeah, I
Give me
understand
your
that.
20 from this side, give me your 20 from this side. We talked about it last week. There's no one on this God's green earth that's gonna tell you 2 Chainz makes better music than Rick Ross.
Yeah.
Rick Ross makes some of the best rap music in the history of hip hop. In the history of hip hop. It sounds good, he raps good,
Whew.
his cadence is on point. Rick Ross is a mastermind. It's a man. But in that format, I
You think
got
Chainz
three,
got it?
maybe 4 songs. Three, and this is the difference between what you
God
just said. He had
damn,
a,
4?
he Rick Ross played 4 songs that had no business being played. at all.
Oh,
Nobody
okay.
wanted to hear Rich Forever. Nobody wanted to hear Diced Pineapples. Nobody wanted to hear Tears of Joy. Nobody wanted to hear Santorini Grease. Now, don't get me wrong. Those are good rap songs. They sound good when they come on. I let them play. I don't skip them.
But not for that.
But not for that format. And then when you play Tears of Joy, and then what did Chainz come back and play after that? Let me pull up my list here. I got it on the list right here.
Oh, you be prepping for the show. That's lit.
Yeah, this one was close to the heart, so I made sure I had this right. So what did yeah. No, let's use Santorini Grease, for example. Santorini Grease is a impeccable song.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Love it.
Yes.
But after Santorini Grease goes off and then Bands that Make Her Dance come on,
Yeah, you're not gonna.
it's the Juicy J
over.
thing again. What we were saying with Nas, what makes you feel something? Like Santorini Grease is super smooth, and then Bands that Make Her Dance has you looking for the fattest ass to throw some money at. What are you gonna do when you're trying to party and enjoy
Yeah, I'm
an
not
atmosphere that they created? Because when I Loved Them Strippers came on and they started doing it for the essential workers. Come on, man. So that's where I'm at with it. You know, I'm not saying that 2 Chainz is a better artist than Rick Ross, but when Ross played those 4 songs for me, I'm like, nah, this is what. When he played Freemason, that was the other one that threw me off. He played Freemason.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not what we need to hear from you right now, Ross. We need, if you're gonna play anything that's chill, throw Maybach music out there. But that was just me. I heard some rumors that Ross might have also been holding some in the clip because there's another verses that he may be involved with where he can go another 20 because he's got another 20. He's
Yes,
got
he has
another
another
20 that he
20.
can use.
Yeah,
But
he's unbelievable.
man, yeah, no, when you're talking total body work, Ross is
yeah.
almost unmatched. Almost unmatched in this. You have to start talking about your Drakes, your Kanyes, your Waynes, your Hoes when you're talking about what Ross brings.
Yeah, and it's wild that you said it, but I think I agree. Like Ross has a lot, and people dock him because he's a liar. But everyone lies in rap. He's a fat, arrogant liar, and but goddamn, he makes some music.
Right?
Man,
He makes some real music.
I'll
Uh,
say before the verses, like me and Pat started talking about on Facebook, we were talking about a couple of tracks that I would have liked to have heard on it. I'm like, yo, you got to come with this, you got to come with that. I understand, like Pat said, he may be saving some for another one, but I was, you know, I could have thought of like 5-10 off the rip that I'd have just automatically just like you say that brings that energy out of me. I mean, I play Holy Ghost like every
oh
day.
God.
Oh my God, that is a banger, you know. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Sean. My bad.
You're fine. I wanted your input, Goofy, but I wanted your input with this. But yeah, so while we're talking about music, before we move on to the college football and everything else and all of our important stuff, let's talk about a cool little thing that what's her face? Meg the Stallion,
Oh yeah, my girl,
Cardi
hot
B,
girl, man.
and
Is
a song with the initials WAP,
mm,
whatever that stands for. I heard that there were some visuals that accompanied that song. I would like to know.
something that every man, every heterosexual male needs in his life. That's where we're at with it.
Yeah.
some very good images. The choreography was very amazing, and the visual, the
The
Choreography.
black fine
aesthetic
arts,
aesthetic to the
excellent.
eye. Yeah, black excellence at its finest.
Yeah.
And
I am in the personal boat that is I don't want to throw on them that they are like the women empowerment or anything like that. It's just music. Let them like be who they are and do what they do. Enjoy it for that. Um Try not to put any extra like weight on them for what it is. Like it's
nah, fuck that. I'm gonna put the weight on them. That is women empowerment. That shit is freeing. Why is it that men will
Yeah.
sit here and be like, oh yeah, we like the freaky hoes, we like the freaky women, but as soon as a woman gives us that, we're like, nah, I don't like. Damn that. I want the woman on the same wavelength that I'm on. If they want to be doing splits between chairs and bouncing and doing all, I'm with that, right? I'm with all that, and I'm not gonna tell a woman not to do it because it makes me uncomfortable. Because when I get to feeling the way I feel, man, let's just be honest. Men want the freaks. They want to. What did Luda say? They want a woman in the street, but a freak in the bed.
Yeah.
Meg and Cardi is showing you the freak side, and y'all like, nah,
I don't
we don't
know.
want our daughters to see that. No. You want your daughters to be comfortable with who they are. Meg and Cardi are comfortable with who they are. Strong black women.
That's
And the
very
great
true.
thing about this happening this week is that last week Beyonce gave us something that we could look to as well. That was Black Excellence with the Black is King last week.
That was dope.
That was visually pleasing. That was great artistry. A lot of culture in that particular video. And then this week we got Meg and Cardi. You're
Yeah, we
getting
getting into some
all the
freak
black
shit.
fine excellence from women right now.
Bro,
They're
if
giving us everything we need.
You get the full
Rihanna drops
spectrum.
something next week, I'ma lose my mind.
It's like the Infinity Stones. That's the
Right?
Black woman Infinity Stones right
Oh
there.
yeah, shit, something's going on.
I
Fuck.
mean, and that's my thing. I don't like. Look, they're both former strippers. I don't know what you want from them. The song is called "Wet Ass Pussy," and you want them to talk about defunding the police or abolition or whatever the fuck.
Exactly, man.
Let
Let them
them do
girls
their
do their thing.
thing.
Yeah, like I said, let them do their thing, man. Let
We
them
got
just do
enough people
their
talking
thing.
about that. We don't need them. We don't need them to talk about that. We needed this.
And the wild part is that Cardi will talk about it sometimes. Like she'll dip her toe in politics.
Right.
She's informed, but let her do freak shit. It's a part of some women's nature. It's a part of women's nature in general. Like you want a woman
Men,
that
stop being scared. They're not going to influence your daughters to do anything that you wouldn't allow your daughters to do. If you got a problem with them, you need to step your parenting game up, man. Don't put that on Megan Cardi.
Talk to them.
Ooh,
One thing I'll say too about Cardi, like that I didn't realize because I don't watch a lot of TV. I didn't realize that she was also on like a show for a little while. I guess one of the Love and Hip Hop shows or whatever. But if you look at how she created her fan base and her platform, there was always a level up, because like you mentioned earlier, she's a former stripper, and from that platform, bam, I read a biopic or something online, said the next step for her was the gram. Instagram was coming up, right? Social media influencing. Got another following from that. Bam, I'm on TV now, right? Got another following from that. Bam, now I'm making my music now, right?
she clearly knows
All,
what the fuck she's doing.
yeah, exactly. She's not a dumb woman, like you say. She's in politics and stuff. Like a lot of people just want to, like, she's got a brain, so it's like you can do it all. You don't have to be one dimensional. You can have levels to that. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
was I was very enthused.
yeah, I bet. Like it was a
I was
very
watching that shit before we started.
You want to know what the crazy thing about that is too?
What's up?
I didn't even seek that video out to watch it. My girl brought it to me. She was impressed with what was going on with that. I would venture to say that we had a discussion that is the woman's tip drill. That is the woman's peep popping on a
Man.
handstand.
Ooh,
And
that's
nothing
pretty
like
good.
that. Women deserve that type of shit. I don't mind them having something like that. I
They
never really
need it.
had.
They
Yeah,
need it.
yeah. And why would a man get mad at a video that would enthuse a woman to give them vagina? I don't understand. Like all these people talking about, oh, what about what about the police
You're
abolition
arguing
and what
against
about
your own interest.
yeah, what about
Right?
and the coosie's just drying up.
It's like
You're
wiping before you poop. It
self-sabotaging.
just doesn't make sense.
Be strong, Kings. Handle it. You gotta boss up. This is not a weak player move. This is only for the strong. Only the strong can survive. You gotta boss up. Don't let this scare you. Don't let it intimidate you. Rise to the occasion.
Yeah, you looking real insecure out here. Looking real weak under that tough surface. Feel me? Yeah. So enough about that. Let's talk about important things like the NCAA and the actual player like the two unions. Yeah, they have one in the Pac-10, they have one in the Big Ten, and they're both trying to have their conditions before the commissioner and everything else before actually playing. And I think it's working. I'll just go first here. I really enjoy the fact that they are finally exercising the power. I feel like the NCAA is the biggest amateurism scam there is. I feel like that actually does need to be abolished. I feel like it needs to go post haste, and I really enjoy it anytime players or anyone else really puts them to the fire. And the one good thing about this pandemic is that it really exposed how much of a sham it really is. It stripped it naked. People who did any research on it knew how much of a sham it was, but this this situation really stripped it naked. You have to think. So you're not allowing any actual students to go to school, go to actual campus to learn, but you want the players to go to practice and be all over each other and then travel while all the actual students are learning online and everything else, and you want them to travel and sacrifice time with their families and sacrificing their health for free, and you want to call it amateurism because you that's the only way the rest of your sports program is going to keep afloat. Get rid of that whole thing. And I'm so glad that they're really putting their feet to the fire. And I think the Pac-10, they were talking about their commissioner dropping their salary from it's like 5 million to 435,000, something like that. And just that alone would give the players, like each player, an extra $5,000 in their pocket for a stipend. So I'm all for it. I'm all with it. What you guys got, Pat? We'll start with you.
So I first want to applaud the student athletes. I think this is a generational thing. Our generation, we're Gen Y, we're millennials. We started the conversation beating on the table. Hey, we should get paid. We should get paid. We should have these type of items afforded to us during the college experience if we're giving free labor and not being compensated based on the revenue that we're generating. So props to the millennials. Props to what we started and did. And maybe they were talking about it before us, but we came in the door and we started banging the table.
Yep.
These Gen Zers, god damn.
I love them.
God, these Gen Zers are about that shit. These kids stood up on whoever's shoulders, whether it was our shoulders or the generation, whoever they needed to stand on, they took the torch. They stood up on them damn shoulders and said, look, y'all was soft. Y'all not going hard enough. We are not playing for you if you have racist landmarks on your universities. We're not playing for you if you got a racist name on this school that I go to. We're not playing for you if we don't feel comfortable with the health environment that you're creating for. We're not playing with you. We're not playing no games. Give us what we want because we know our worth.
10 toes down, baby.
So these Gen Zers about that shit. And what's crazy is they're not even being unreasonable.
Nah.
They're asking for everything that's afforded to the average working person in America. Can you keep us safe? How can you keep us safe? What are the measures you're going to go to keep us safe? Can you explain that to us? Don't make us sign liability waivers if you don't know what this shit is going to do to us. Maybe y'all can come off with a little bit of bread and give it to us since you're making us do this shit that no one else in America is doing. Simple shit. And to kind of backtrack a week or so ago, when the Pac-12 initially put this list of demands, among those things that I mentioned, those were some of the demands that they put out.
Right.
There was this misnomer or misinformation that players didn't want to play and that they were opting out and that they wanted to get paid, and that really wasn't the case. They basically came to the table and said, we want you all to answer these questions for us. We're not kids, we're adults. You're having us do adult things. What are you going to do for us? reasonable, except for Washington State, who said, hey, if you support anything that these Pac-12 players are putting out, you can't play for us. Yeah, your scholarship's good this year. We'll honor it, but turn your shit in. That is the absolute worst response you can give to,
Whole
we
bunch of
call them
pissed
kids,
off.
they're young adults.
Yeah.
They're learning how to maneuver in the workplace, whether it's on a football field and they end up, going on to the NFL or the next level of sports, or whether they go into corporate America or they become entrepreneurs. You can't just say, oh, it's my way or the highway. I mean, you can, but that's not a very smart business practice. These kids know their worth. They're not going to just let you do to them without questioning it. They're not going to take it because that's the way it is. And you have to understand that as an institution, that the generations have changed. They want answers for the questions that they have. And the questions that they're asking are very smart questions. I don't blame them for banding together to try and move something. There's strength in numbers. There's strength in your voice. They've already found the power. They've been testing the power out the last year or so with kids
Oh, it's been fun.
taking a stand against their coaches. Kids saying, hey, if you don't take the flag off this Ole Miss campus, I'm not playing for you. And then a month later, the flag is gone. They know their power. They have power. You better start respecting them as equals now because they're going to use it.
Yep. Kev?
So you kind of touched on my thoughts about it earlier. Like definitely proud of them forming the unions, getting their power, their say. Pat stated very, very elegantly their worth. The thing that I thought about it that's funny, like when you hear people, talk about amateurism, is like, well, there is a thing that they have where they actually do get paid for what they do. Like for NCAA football, it's the NFL. For
Right.
NCAA basketball, it's the NBA. There are actual leagues that pay these players for that. And that's, it ties back into the whole kind of deal where we were talking, and it's like, their NCAA is crooks.
Mm-hmm.
And like Sean said, this exposed a lot of different things that they've been doing for so long. Like when you do it for so long, especially out in the open, it doesn't seem wrong, or it doesn't seem like something they shouldn't be doing. But the free labor and the money and the revenue that they get out of these players is just
Man.
like, we're not, astronomically high.
Billions.
So yeah, billions of dollars generated from this. And like, like we grew up in the era where there was the NCAA game, where you're literally making a video game using images and likeness of people that aren't seeing profits from that. And like, that game came out every year, boom, like, so it's definitely, if the I hope they get their power. I hope they come to an understanding. I'm not saying I don't want to watch sports, guys. So don't take that from this. I definitely like watching the younger athletes, aspiring athletes, come up, because not everybody's gonna go on to the NFL or the professional leagues, I should say. And
Yeah.
that's what I feel like college athletes or college sports is really all about. Like, hey, I'm still an athlete and I can play sports, but I'm not planning on actually going necessarily to the league. I think that would create, if you did it that way, obviously, I know why the NCAA doesn't want to do it. You would have the XFL or other professional things that people could do to prep for the majors, if you want to
Right.
kind of create that format for it. But stop being greedy, give to the needy, share the love. They, it's definitely, it's funny because it's not something that they can't not do. It's something that's definitely doable in terms of creating stipends for players and showing players that they're worth, because most of these schools are big schools because of their sports programs. So it's not like a lot of these players, Harvard doesn't have the best football team,
Right.
so that, look at it that way.
And I also think it's fair to note right now, as we talk about this subject, the power these players are wielding right now, there's a current conversation going on right now that might affect all of college sports, because what the Big Ten and the Pac-12 have done has forced these commissioners to come to terms that, hey, we might lose our labor, so maybe we need to think about postponing the season. The MAC just canceled their season. They'll tell you it's because of health concerns. Players don't feel healthy. A big portion of that is because the MAC's big money games come from the Big Ten. The Big Ten went conference only, and now the Big Ten's not even sure if they're going to have a season because their players are forcing them to address issues that they were going to try and sweep under the rug. So the MAC explicitly states they canceled because of health concerns. If that's the case, these players got to understand they got all the power. And these Gen Zers know they got all the power. The college administrators and these fans, y'all gotta start talking a little bit better to these kids on Twitter. Stop talking crazy to them on Twitter, because they'll cut your ass off and you ain't gonna have the sports.
and you know, where I think this is gonna go, and I feel like it's gonna be kind of ironic, is that I feel like the Pac-12 is going to cancel this season. I feel like the Big Ten is going to cancel this season. Everyone else is going to cancel the season completely, except for the SEC, and it'll just show how little of a fuck the South gives a fuck about their black labor. Once again, it'll be like America full circle while everyone watches. That's what I'm waiting for, because they see all this stuff around them, and the SEC just moving full steam ahead. Like, yeah, we already got our schedule, and it's like,
hey, you can't spell secede without SEC.
That is correct. Yeah, it's gonna... Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, so I think that's it for the show today. Kev, do you have anything? You got anything before we roll out, man?
Oh man, no, that was great. Good stuff, man. Everybody be safe out there. You know, wear your mask, continue to take precautions the best you can. This stuff is real. People's lives are real. So it's not a game. I say that to the people down. I am still down south here, so you know, South Carolina, but we don't give a fuck. Like it's crazy to go some places. So you know, be safe out there, folks.
Pat.
Yeah, I actually do have a lot. We got a whole extra segment that I just created in my head just now. Nah, real quick, I do want to get y'all's thoughts on the awards, the NBA awards. They got announced earlier today. So obviously the MVP race, you got Bron, you got Greek, and you got Harden.
We'll do it quick. Naming the award, I'll give you my pick. I already got these sussed out.
So MVP, Bron, Greek, Harden.
Giannis,
easy. Kev?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Giannis on that one too.
All right. Rookie of the year. Ja Zion. I'm not even gonna mention the Miami dude. He's not even in the race.
Yeah, like Ja.
Ja Morant, yeah, for sure. Ja Morant.
Depoy, Greek, AD, Gobert.
Greek again.
I'll go AD.
It's gonna be a tragedy if Milwaukee doesn't win this title. He's leaving. I don't know where he's going, but he's out.
Your man is Depoy and MVP worthy. Crazy. We haven't seen that since what? Hakeem?
Yeah, that's a bad motherfucker.
Shit, what we got? Six man. You got Schroeder, Harrell, Lou Wills. Crazy that the six man can come from one team. You got two dudes. Who we got?
I'm gonna pick Harrell. I think he's more important to him. I think he's more important to the Clippers.
I'm gonna go with Lou on that one. He's just, when I think of six man, you know, that is who I think of, honestly. So that's
the six man award is going to be named the Lou Williams Award after he retired.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. He's embraced the role, and you know the way he just attacks. Like you would want it if you're not giving, if anybody is naming their six man, we're not talking like, hey, you're getting an award, but just on a team, you're my six man. You're telling them, I want you to be like Lou Williams. I want you to come at it not just with the tenacity, but the attitude that he has off the bench. So it's I think it's Lou Williams.
Okay.
All right. Two more. I'm gonna say this. No, I'm gonna go. Most improved. Luka, Bam, Brandon Ingram.
I'll go with Ingram.
I second that. Ingram for sure. He's definitely been playing a lot better.
Doing on that list?
Yeah, he's not.
Why
Can't
is
look for
Luka
the
even
field
on
out
that
the
list?
Go ahead and say it, Pat. You got to say it.
If you want to give Luka an award, just create the most like Larry Bird award and just give it to the white guy who you want to acknowledge. We don't like if you want to give him an award that bad, just give him the reminds me of Larry Bird award and then just keep it moving. Luka should be in the MVP conversation. Don't give him the most improved. Get out of here.
Let me throw this one at you, and it's maybe participation trophy. Like this may be too many awards, but do you think going forward to, I guess, because after your freshman year, right, you're just in the league for everything else. Should there be like a sophomore
award?
Yeah,
No.
sophomore award, junior award, like okay, beyond or something like that. You've been in the league 15 years plus for the older guys, like Vince would have got everything, the last if they did something like that. But like I said, that sounds kind of participation trophy-ish.
Yeah, like I don't
We're
like.
gonna give him a varsity Letterman jacket after that
Yeah.
too. Fly out of here. You're a professional.
Deal with it.
Sorry, Luka, you didn't win shit this year. Sorry.
No, great. Win the title.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's it.
So that's it. MVP.
That's it.
You got to be in the
MVP, Goofy.
The way he plays, it definitely should be MVP. Like he should be trying to be in the MVP conversation.
He's not in the MVP conversation this year. Do the shit you doing this year, and you'll be in it next year. That's
For sure.
Yeah. But if you want to give him an award, just give him the reminds me of Larry Bird award and keep the shit moving. All right, last one. Coach of the year. Nick Nurse, Billy Donovan, Budenholzer. Who we got?
I got Nick Nurse. You're not supposed to be able to have the exact same record after losing Kawhi and Danny Green. Like they next man upped it. I think like most people are picking the Bucks again, or even OKC's guy, even though he's not listed there. But I got Nick Nurse. Like he's done a stupid job with them. It's insane.
I agree. I second that. Even when he had Danny Green and Kawhi, it was like, okay, he's still a phenomenal coach with what he's doing. So the fact that, again, that, they're where they're at now, they're doing what they're doing, that only speaks to, the support staff that they have behind them. So I agree.
Cool. And then we all agree Carmelo Anthony is the comeback player of the year, so we don't even need to discuss that. It's
That's
just
fair.
lock that
I've
up.
done this before. We never left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he should have never left. But yeah, so
I'll say this too, though, to another player that's back since he's on, my team. JR, man. I thought his career was over. I'll say welcome back, man. You've definitely been, I know you could play at a higher level, but he's had some nice shots. He's hit some nice spots. I like him in the rotation. He's doing what he needs to do. So kudos to that, my friend.
Honorable mention to Dwight Howard as well. Dwight
Right,
Howard
yeah.
is.
Oh, hell yeah.
so
Lord
all
knows
the
I
old
hated
ghosts,
that man for a very long time. So
all the old ghosts are on the Lakers right now, trying to get their ring.
The old all-stars.
Yeah. Pat, you got anything before we roll out?
Nah, man. I'm just I'm happy to have another week to do this with y'all. My Pop Smoke shirt should be in the mail next week. If it doesn't happen, I'm gonna start shitting on y'all on my platform. Give me my shit. I ordered it back in June. I want my Pop Smoke shirt.
Okay, I'm not seeing that coming. All right. So, I have a very cool Black Panther shirt on. I got it from Philadelphia Printworks.com. They have some really dope stuff there. This is a dope shirt. It took a little bit long because they're not used to this volume of orders, but they're definitely about something special with the Black movement and racial justice. So I had to go support them. You should too. And that's it for me. Pat, Kev, thank you guys so much. Bradley is hiding somewhere with the baby. He's still working hard, making us look good as usual. And we'll thank you guys. There you are, man. Thank you guys for showing up. See you guys next week. Shooting the shit. We out.
Peace.